Design beyond ordinary. Witness creativity that redefines the possible. Let your ideas define the next digital era. Thinking creatively. Exploring possibility. Unleashing a world designed beyond limits.
IX25.
Cool. So everybody, thank you so much for the invitation. Firstly, I would like to say, and thank you IIT, and then everybody who has involved in this particular scenario for inviting me. Thank you. And then firstly, I would like to say for everybody, I would like to make this a very, a kind of an unusual way, rather than you guys just listening to me. It'll be much more better if you can raise questions and answers, so that I will be giving the answers, and then we can just talk on behalf to certain points on this. So it's not just like me doing the talking, because AI is already there. You can grasp all this information from AI. So at the industry level, what do you need to know on XR? What are the devices you think is going to suit you, and how you have to make yourself prolific in this industry, and what are the segments that you need to cling to? These kind of things you can always ask me, and even when I'm speaking, you could say pause, and then you could just go on. So just don't make it a formal way. Let's just make it a very interactive session, because I'm a very practical guy. Let's do it like that one. Yeah. So cool. Thank you again, once again, everybody, for joining this session. Okay, so let's first try to understand the title of it, Spatial Design Concepts in XR, understanding how spatial UX differs from traditional UI. Convert thinking into spatial environments. I know everywhere in Sri Lanka, even like when it comes to XR and VR, like many people, they don't have a much more understanding of it. Like they do their designs, but they do not comprehend with the real world content. We have to make it immersive with their headsets, how to make things better. So in my case, humbly put, I have been working on with many devices personally, as well as in my official environment with a lot of massive projects. I cannot mention them, but massive projects in terms of medical and then real estate mainly. So we have been working with the spatial environments. So I will be taking a glimpse into those particular sectors also, where you can ask me, like for the medical, what kind of a stuff you did, and what are the best headsets do you think is going to serve me better, these kind of a thing. So I would be able to tell you because I have personally done my UI as well as the coding to a certain aspect with my Unity guys to understand this, the peripherals and stuff like that. So when it comes to design, I would like to say, don't just put your finite level of thinking, this is just designing a button. No, it's beyond that. So spatial environments is something beyond. So let's talk about it further. Yeah. So this is all about it. And then let's jump into the second slide, which is over here. So these are the areas that I will be covering for you guys today. And yeah, I forget this gentleman's name. I really want to thank him for that one, for inviting me. I think he did a wonderful job for getting this set up. I'm a guy who always forgets name. Yeah. So yeah. So this person also. So spatial design concepts in XR, understanding how spatial UX differs from traditional UI. Let's bounce a little bit into history of VR. Okay. And then understanding how it all began. I know the AI is there, but I know there are things that you cannot evade. We need them. And then traditional UI UX versus spatial UI UX in XR. Then tools, Figma, 3D tools, pipelines for XR and UI UX, like what you have to use, those particular things. And XR hardware, which is something really thing that you need to to understand. There is so many headsets around the market, which is called Meta, HoloLens, Vision Pro, and the Vuzix. So Vuzix is another device which I will be talking also because I'll explain the reason in detail. The reality of XR, the fatigue, the eye strain, and user stress. This is something that you need to really focus on when you're designing. When you one day you guys are going to use it, but you will understand me then. So designing based on the device, that is something really important. something really mandatory for you to know. And understanding the elements of spatial user interfaces and the motion of virtual objects, that is a bit complex for you, but it doesn't matter. If you feel that you want to understand it, this is for the extreme high level person. The motion of virtual objects session is arranged, but I just snatched a few points to just give you a motion, like, the look and feel of it. Like, what do you feel about it? And then if you think that it suffices your knowledge, then you can maybe grasp, okay? And if not, you could just ask me questions. And then let's have a question and answers thing where you can ask me questions over and over. And then it's a thank you. So needless to say that. Yeah. So let's first jump into the first one, history of VR. Okay. I know everybody knows about VR and then the stuff like that, but then how it began is something which you really want to know. And then we cannot forget these people. This is something really informative. So even when we were studying, we were taught to go through these. Okay. Even with the history was coming and stuff like that. So 1968 was everything which was began. The first head-mounted display, okay, famously known as the Sword of Damocles, was created by computer scientist Ivan and his student Bob Sproul. Sorry, I cannot get that word properly spelled, so excuse me for that one. And he was the guy who really did it. And then in 1989, NASA created the Project View for Virtual Interface Environment Workstation, a sophisticated VR simulator used in train astronauts with audio elements developed by Crystal River Engineering. This is something really interesting. If you go deep into this one, you'll find some good information over here as to how they came up with this scenario. And then View in recognizable as a modern example of VR feature to Data Glove, which is something really useful for the simulation of touch interaction, which is really wonderful. And the year 1969, the rest scientists had to come up with began developing a series of interactive camera-based experiences, which we turned artificial reality. And these computer-generated environments responded to the movement and gestures of the people in them. So these are the years that they really came up with this scenario, and everything started up. So in 1968, and then 69, and then 89, it started up with these guys. And then after that, what happened was we come into this era where everybody was, I don't know if you guys were there then, but it's okay. Even I was just studying perhaps. 1993, Sega. The first video game came into the places, Sega, Nintendo, there was the games. I was also playing games when I was small a lot. So Sega announces new VR glasses. So this was the first headsets, like it was coming into play. And then 1995, Nintendo Virtual Boy was coming up. And then year 2014, Facebook buys Oculus and the Sony announced their VR project. So let's dive into the engagement with social VR platforms opens as a world of opportunities. Yeah? And then there is one more thing which I don't want to keep you out of this. When you talk of VR and XR today, many people don't understand this slide. This slide, I cannot keep it out. So I need to do it. I was also going to school back in time, very small then, but I was a kind of an addict on programming and stuff like that. I was also doing coding. So this language, I cannot keep it out. So I need to keep this one over here, which is called VRML. I don't know, many would have heard of it. With the question answer stand, let's talk about it if you don't mind, if you love to. Yeah, VRML, the language and its immersive counterpart, which is something really, I cannot keep it out. So this is where everything began for the web industry. Like today, they use 3JS, but VRML is something that they stormed the world with the VRML. Unfortunately, this had to die because the internet back in time was really slow. But right now, if this was existing at the moment, VRML will win. And we never know what will happen today or maybe tomorrow. Definitely, this language might come up. Definitely, again, we never know. It's because MIME 3D, the X3D consortium is there. You can ask me what that is later. And then they're also working on many things, like massive companies were working on them. So this is something, if you want, I would just quickly read up to you, because the later stages, I want to talk something more with it. So what is VRML? VRML stands for Virtual Reality Modeling Language. This was the VR, the depth of it. This is how it all began. This is the modeling language, enabled creation of 3D objects and interactive worlds where users could communicate by traversing. The language took the world by storm because of its immersive nature. And then today 3JS is doing it, but it is more better than 3JS, I would say. While the popularity of VRML was increasing, the lack of bandwidth is the past provided to be a major hindrance. As I said, that was the only problem. But worlds were built in a stunning way where the world was really astonished by that. And then, because of the bandwidth back in time in 1990s, it was very slow. So that was the reason. But then again, the consortium is doing the best job to keep it up live. And then it is, even if you use like big 3D softwares like Maya, 3D Studio Max, I use a lot, even Maya, they all have this pivot as open so that the people can even export it today. And even I create worlds sometimes. These kind of worlds I created, but this was created by Black Sun Interactive, which back in time, it was a very big company from Germany. And then I'll talk about them as well later. And then Shout Interactive, there was other companies which they were created these kind of worlds. So that was something really informative stuff that you can maybe search on the internet later. So some of these famous VR worlds were created by Black Sun Interactive. Again, I told you, where avatars could interact in a colony worlds. This was really a lovely sight, back in time, where, many people do not understand this. I personally, when I was too small, back in time, I was like, traversing all these worlds wearing my headset. And then I told my dad to go and pick it up. And then he brought it. Where I was just using traversing all these particular worlds and then seeing this. So this is where avatars originally came back in time. So today the world is much more, focused and robust, and then it's everywhere now. Avatars has been used and everybody knows it. So let's switch to the next slide. VRML, creating a geometry. VR is all about geometry. XR is all about geometry. I'll tell you what geometry is all about, but this is just a 1 hour session. So I'm going a little bit fast, but if I'm going too fast, you can always talk to me. Don't make it, as I told you, like, shallow kind of a thing, saying that let him talk and then I'll be quiet. No, it doesn't make like that. It doesn't make sense. So you can stop me anytime and you can say, I have a question I want to answer. Then you can just turn up your mic and ask. Yeah. So creating a geometry. So all these things back in time, this is something really informative for you guys. Today, AI is there and then it's creating, but AI doesn't do everything. To be honest, with a guy who seriously know his job, will definitely laugh at it. I would like to say, but who back in time for the VRML, people created, you won't believe, this particular, the flow was created by code. And then I myself have created it. And then spheres, this kind of a lampshades, there were people like Robert Polloy. I used to write to them back in time when I was very small. I used to write to them also. They were using this lampshades kind of done by 3D, by writing code. And the tree textures and everything was applied by manually by code. So there was no tool, but they were doing it. So it's really informative and interesting when you study this particular language. I think if I'm not wrong, I don't want to mention the universities here. They're still teaching this language and then it's doing, but I used to do it using Max right now. So if you want to create a geometry sphere through a code in VRML would be, it's this. So this is stuff that I myself have written. So def ball and then transform and translation -10, 1, 0 and children, which is going to be the shape of it. Appearance, you have to say material, and then the texture. So you have to call up a texture inside the material over here. And then the URL is going to be the cone. The cone is going to be the thing which is going to be inside the folder. And then you can call it. So the world will be loading and then quickly it will be snapping. Yeah, there was no proper preloader, but the preloaders were implemented later by Cosmopolitan, Cosmo Worlds, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Cosmo Worlds, yeah, later. And then preloaders were also added into the VRMLs. So def, ball, and sensor, and touch sensor. Touch sensors are the things which is being used today also for sensors. You can talk about it. When you click on the particular object, it like use sensors and stuff like that. So however, immersive VR worlds could be easily created using softwares like 3D Studio Max, where no programming knowledge will be required. Of course, you need it also. And with the feature enabled in VRML, it's always easy to create immersive worlds. So there you go. As I told you, there's export. If you're using Blender, I hardly will use Blender. Maybe they should have it, because my friend always tells me that there should be a feature. Okay, so that's about VRML. So I cannot keep the slide out, so I brought it in. So where to go? Because I'm expecting this one to come again, and I know one day it'll come for sure. I love it. If it comes again, it will. So I'm jumping on to the next slide, which is going to be over here. So that was traditional VR. And then here you go. The VRML is replaced mainly with 3JS today. And then it comes to spatial UI UX. So when it comes to the projects like, how should I say this? As I said, I was a practical guy. So let's talk about projects directly. Recently, I had to develop a real estate particular project, which is for a UK customer. They were really emphasized, because Sri Lankan people, they're not good at this. They really don't even comprehend this particular nature properly. So 3JS, we were using 3JS heavily, and I had to use these particular 3D models, which I will show you in the next image. And then I have to use 3JS for that one, the real estate visualization for the real estate property. Yeah, it was done using 3JS. So that's also kind of an immersive world where for the web language we were speaking and then the mobile language we were speaking. So that's a massive, with my UK, European friends that we have to develop that particular thing. It was working. It was perfect. And then the second table shows it like spatial UI, UX and XR, VR and AR comes. So that is really an immersive kind of a way. So traditional UI UX for the web, mobile, and desktop, you can use 2D planes. They are like flat screens, fixed sizes, pixels, and rectangular boundaries, and etc. etc. Input and controls. It's basically you use the mouse, the finger tap, and maybe the keyboard. Like for example, finger tap means like 3JS. When you use 3JS, like you could use your finger to click on it, and then you could go on like that. And the keyboard and cursor and the primary, intermediary stuff like that. Yeah. So the navigation, it's all about paging and scrolling. Users move content past and fixed with the viewport, the screen. Depth and distance. This is something really I would like to talk about it a bit later. Depth and distance achieved through a shadow effect, like the Z-index layering. Z-index, right? Like I used to do React and Angular a lot. Sometimes coding, even today I was doing it. So we use Z-index sometimes to put it up. So in 3JS also there are ways to do it. I think even in my web I have given us a touch of that one, like Z-index is something similar to that one, which is called the depth. So constraints, limited this is the biggest problem when it comes to the web interfaces. This is what VRML also faces, now 3JS is facing. Constraints, limited by screen size and resolutions, so DPI versus pixels. So if you take the normal resolutions of a desktop, mainly people use it with 1920. And then sometimes Apple introduces with 2000 ranges. But when it comes to the mobile, it goes on to the 360 when you horizontally, the minimal one. And then after that, it runs down to 390 to 400 DPIs. And then when you turn up the screen, sometimes you use in 3JS, I need the responsive modes like we used to run it. I write my codes to like 450 to 475, somewhere there. And then the bigger screens tab for 767 to 768 and 1024 and so on and so forth. So for those particular ranges, this is ideal using 3JS. So content placement and fixed. UI elements are anchored to the edges of the screen. That's another issue. So spatial, when it comes to spatial, I think most of you are good, and then you all haven't really experienced it in immersive world. Of course, you would have played a lot of games in VR headsets today. But when it comes to the project, there's so much to think on. So I am focusing on that project level. Yeah. So someday after this particular graduation or whatever that you do, you will go on to a company and then try to work. And then maybe you will have to ponder on these particular elements like spatial UI when it comes to XR, VR or AR, what you need to know. So 3D space, volumetric and infinite. So the worlds are becoming infinite. The worlds are so big. There is no finite kind of a thing. That is the sweetness of spatial UR, because the world is just like the Akasa, like in the Buddhism that teaches a lot. I love it a lot. It's just big. It's infinite. There is no limit. There is no beginning saying that this is the pixel and the start point and this is the end point. It's a big infinite world. But with the infinite world, you have to make sure when you're creating it, I'll talk about it later. The geometry, how you place them is something really important. I'm not talking about the flat geometries that you're creating using Figma. They are basic. I'm talking about extreme level of geometry. Let's talk about it later, yeah? So you can ask questions on this particular thing if you want to pitch into these markers. I'm a really cool guy because I'm experience in this. You can ask me even in code, okay? That doesn't matter. The 3D space, volumetric, infinite worlds, remember that. And then the direct, it's gaze, hand tracking, voice controls, and user hands and body are the input. So this is something which is like superseding with the input control, which you consider with the traditional UI UX, and then the direct, the gaze of it, and the locomotion and teleportation. Users physically or virtually move through the content. That is something immersive. And real feeling utilizes stereoscopy and real world depth, uses parallax scale for focus. Limited by fields of view and the user comfort fatigue. This is something really important. When you're creating a project for a big company, I've done so many projects with my other two team members, lovely two Sri Lankan guys, maybe overseas guys as well. I'm in the community as well for the overseas. I was doing a lot of 3D and VR stuff. I would like to say that FOV plays a big role. I have very little time over here, so that I'll try to do my best to show you what FOV is all about. If it was in your premises, I would have definitely brought a headset and given you a blast over there. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So I will talk about FOV and how the configure matters. Today, you might see Apple Vision Pro, you might see all these various glasses, but at the end of the day, when I'm doing projects with my Unity guys, the fatigue that you encounter makes you disgusting. That is something really the doctors also faces, and they say, "Oh, Ishfaak, we can't wear this one because it's really hard for us." And then the person who travels in the ambulance, he says, "This is too heavy for us." The headset, we can't wear it. Then what comes into play? Then AR creeps in. I'll talk about it later. Yeah. So that's something that you really need to understand. Contextual and world locked. UI elements are placed relative to the environment of the user's body. Interesting note one there. Later, let's talk about it in detail. So this is some of the real estate projects that I have done recently for the big one, but I didn't want to showcase it much more. So in my web, I have just put a very few one because I'm not supposed to show it. So here we're using 3JS. That's the difference of it. So web, mobile, and 3JS visualization. For visualization, so this is all about visualization. So XR/VR is all about visualization. If anybody says no, I would like to know who that is. So while 3JS is widely used for the web and mobile visualization today, creating truly immersive spatial worlds in XR and VR presents unique and more complex challenges. So when it comes to the XR and VR and AR, as I told you, it's an infinite world. You have so many things which you can do. So that's that. So you come up with this. So this is kind of a finite, the left finite, the kind of left-hand one. You could traverse, but then you don't have that real immersive experience. I know you would have played games and stuff like that. So you must be knowing it much more better. So spatial UI, when it comes to XR and VR, when you wear a headset, it's really lovely. But let's talk about the fatigue when you're running the project. And then that's where you should know to design it based on the fatigue, not on the device. Peripheral comes next. What matters mainly, if anybody asks me, it's the fatigue. Consider that, the fatigue. Yeah, so that's very important. Like if you ask a person, they're not an UI UX person, they will say, you measure a button, you put 5 paddings over here. Those are basics, extreme basics. But when it comes to XR and VR, it's all about the peripherals. You understand the peripherals best. We cannot come up to a design without understanding the peripherals. So I personally have worked on with all these things as head of UI UX. I have personally gone on to this level, understanding the dogma, and then how the spatial VR interacts, and then what the difficulty the doctors faces, and all these particular things. And I personally have interrogated them, and then I have felt that this is the pain points, and then among them, we select this is the best thing that we can do, and then we take on that one. So it's up to you. You can have a lot of questions from me. I leave it up to you because you are going to serve the market. You're going to enter the market if you're interested in XR VR. Yeah. So you can ask me questions on that. I would be, whatever that is possible for me to answer, I will answer. Yeah, cool. So let's jump into the next slide, which is over here. This is much more text-based, but let me just cover it up a bit fast, okay? XR VR is more intuitive, natural, and more complex. Here's the process I follow for UI UX for immersive XR VR worlds for custom projects. Okay, so like I told you earlier, I'm not just a guy who's going to talk about this history of that and history of this. It doesn't make sense, At the end of the day, after your degree or maybe whatever that you do, you go and sit in a chair, and then the company will give you a project, a task, and they will tell you, look, X, looks Y, looks Z. This is what I want. You got to do it for me, and they cannot do this for me. So how are we going to do that? It's all about self-elevation. You have to understand the particular segments, and then you have to make your pivot points as to how you're going to do that. So that is something really informative for you. You need to understand these particular pain points. So for me, if a project is being got on a particular content, this is what I would jump in and then how I embark on. Yeah. So creating an empathy map. When I say empathy map, it's not the basic UI UX empathy map. Okay. This is drilling down a bit more further because the project depends on if it's a medical project, if it's a real estate project. It's not the web form, the empathy map. It's much more detailed, but I cannot speak everything. That's what I said. If it was live, I would have given you a much more robust approach. And then empathy map is much more complex, okay? And then how you deal with the persona is mainly with the hardware. So that's how it goes. So this is something important for you. You can question me, okay? Empathy map and then the persona, goals and needs. And then the pain points on the hardwares mainly. I have really mentioned it. It's on the hardware. It's not like just, talking to the users, UX, UI, user. Okay, so how is it? You like this web design, something like this one. You like this mobile design, something like this one. And what do you feel of this one? Then she says, no, this is my pain point. And this is too basic. So here we directly interrogate first, not the user. We first interrogate the hardware. This is the limitations that we encounter. And then sometimes I personally know that I have worked on with projects. We have ordered a headset, a massive one, which is so expensive. I don't want to say the names of the companies also. We ordered it and then it's not working. And then the doctor says, no, I cannot wear this. This is too heavy for my head. I'm facing fatigue. How can I use this? There you go. Problems. So persona comes over here. Pain points on the hardware mainly. So I and my Unity developer, I work with the Unity guys very closely because we are the core of the particular thing that we want to really work on this. Yeah. So the Unity people are the main people that I work with, two Unity guys beside me, and then I'm in the middle. So it's always interaction. It's really fun. It's really fun. But so again, ask me questions, okay? Don't keep quiet. I don't like being quiet. So behavior and preference. I don't have this reactive mindset. Let's talk. Let's talk. So behavior and preference is vital part, okay? And then hypothesis. These are words that you may know. Empathy map in the normal UX industry. Everybody talks about it. I see in LinkedIn people put a button and then they say, this is UI, this is UX. You know, it's really fun. And then you say, if you know UI, you don't know UX. If you know UX, you know UI. And then just try to create a scheme of it. In VR, there is no scheme. You directly jump into this, you analyze this with the peripheral that you do. That's hardcore. And then you understand this particular thing really well. Then you embark on your particular screens. Then how you embark on that one. So you can ask me, I will tell you that. Yeah. So I'm giving you a lot of options. So you can ask me. So hypothesis, empathy map and persona and hypothesis. So layout rendering, here you go. I break it down. So empathy map, you know what empathization is, right? You can maybe in the question and answer, you can ask me. Empathy is like all about understanding about the other person's feelings. Okay. And then the persona. And then what the goals and needs and the pain points and the behavior. And then the hypothesis. But the persona is broken mainly on the hardware, but I do. And I don't know if it's a basic guy who might just talk rubbish. No. It's basically the hardware. That's why me and my Unity guys and everybody, the VPs or everybody who does it from even overseas, they use the hardware. So hypothesis. This involves factors like the layout rendering, avoid fatigue, as I've spoken to you, ergonomics, sizing, visual depth cues to ensure comfort and immersion. Content parameters like field of view, very interesting stuff that you really need to know. And then wireframes, wireframes, then UI layouts. So create using tools like Figma, Blender, 3ds Max and stuff like that. It goes further, but I just broke it down to a very minimalistic standpoint where you can even grasp as to what this is all about later. Ask me questions. 3D rendering. I use various software tools to help the Unity engineer to fathom depth and spatial relationships in the virtual world. So remember, when creating UI UX content for the XR and VR, each device has its unique standards. My dear, that is something really you need to know. I understand. I feel so sorry for you guys. Last time also, I was so sad with you guys because you all were doing a lot of UI concepts. I gave much as possible marks to you. Everybody was passed because you all haven't tested it on your XR, but you all were doing an amazing job for your, the test or whatever thing that you're doing, the stuff like that. So it was kind of a commotion for them. They were like, coming up with these various sizes, but it was wonderful. They did a wonderful job. So I'm sure you guys are also going to do the same thing this time. Very interesting. So spatial computing is all about user interfaces that uses translates computer UIs to 3D immersive world by changing the physical reality to send input information. Spatial computing mirrors how we interact with objects. So basically, the objects that you are normally used to when you go to a website like Alibaba or Amazon that you see, we are tired of seeing this. This is all just basic UI. Really, I'm fearless to say that it's basic UI. Anybody's doing it is basic UI. But when you come to the spatial world, your mind is really killer app, and you become a killer zone part because when you try to understand that one. Yeah. So if you're going into that industry where the gaming part is also open, the gaming industry, there's a lot to think of. So this is going into pieces then. So let's talk about it later. And then over here, the tools that you can use since you are getting into this particular point. So the workflow from 2D concept to 3D implementation, UI, UX, beyond. As I told you, it's a bit beyond over here. It's wireframes. I personally use Figma and then Draw.io. I normally manage teams, but that doesn't mean that I leave my team alone because it doesn't make sense. What I believe is like, if a team member is stuck, I need to put myself into it, and then I mingle with them, and then that's how it should be. And I fall into it. That doesn't mean that, you are this, you are that. And no, it doesn't make sense. So I myself use Figma, no matter what you are doing, Figma, and then Draw.io, and then UX Pin IR, some of my BAs are using for, let's talk about that also, okay? So BAs, mainly BAs for, I used to work with a lot of BAs, like, with the company BAs, because the BAs, how they see things from than a UX person is really different. They are much more into technical oriented, and then the way they see things, and then the way their mind layer, how they render things is something different. So I work with a lot of BAs where they come up with wireframes, and then I fine tune it, which makes it much more easy for me. My life size becomes easy. Then I jump into 3D worlds, and then I create the 3D. Then I jump in with the Unity guy and then go on with it. So this is the software scenarios that I've been, giving you the particular insight of. So Figma, Draw.io, UXPen, Balsamic, it doesn't matter what you use, because my BAs will be using all these things. And I recently told my BAs to use this one, Figma. I drag them into this one, but Draw.io is also good, but then Balsamic is also good, but then just in mind, yeah, it's nice, but then Figma is something really much we're doing very well today. So Figma. And for UI, for XR, VR, and AR, again, I use, Figma, and Photoshop is needed, and Sketch, Apple user. I'm not Apple user. I don't know, for some reason people always laugh, but it doesn't matter. I don't use it. So 3D tools for XR, VR, and AR. Blender is the number one, but I don't use Blender. I'm sorry. I use 3ds Max and Autodesk Maya. I'm a very humble guy, but that doesn't mean that there's a reason why I want to say it, because Blender is good. It's doing good. It's not bad. But they were the pioneers in the industry, Maya and 3ds Max. 3ds Max was the original people. They got Autodesk Maya. And then now they're a very strong team. Blender is also open source. They're doing free of charge. So in my case, I'm having paid versions over here. So I'm using 3ds Max and Autodesk Maya. And then Blender, yeah, you can use it. So it's free. It doesn't matter, but Blender is really good. So you can use for 3D stuff. You're good to do. And I really want to know at the end when I'm asking the questions, and let's have open chat, I want to know whether you guys are really doing 3D. And the Unity, of course, this is where the heart of it is. And Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine is also good where people use it, but then Unity is something that all my XR VR people, even from locally or my overseas community, XR VR community friends there. I don't want to say many things, but I keep it very simple. XR, they're all using Unity. So Unity is something that even if you want to study, great, do it. So that will be great if you can study Unity and then jump into Unreal Engine, because Unreal Engine is much more easy. Like people who today, like they do their CVs in AI, and then literally when they come and speak, they cannot do it properly. So it's something like that. Unity is much more high. After that, you study Unreal Engine. But if you know Unity, you're not going to go to Unreal Engine. So you're a master of yourself. Because I remember my Unity guys doing an ECG, and I was working perfect with them. We created a ECG thing using Unity, and I had to get involved for that one as well, that project. So we use Unity. So Unity is really good for that one. Yeah. And then, so let's jump into this section now. That's what I told you. I don't want to talk about the history right now. History doesn't make sense. We live because of the history. It's true. But history, we know it. We are here. So let's now embark on a journey to understand these particular, models and how they serve the purpose on projects, on a project basis, not gaming. Okay. Game is something different. I'm talking about a project. If you get a project, how you would like to pivot yourself on this particular thing. So there is MetaQuest, people are using. HoloLens, I personally have used all these things. Okay. And then Vision Pro, I'm even doing right now. I think 1 year ago, we did a big application for students to have an interaction just like you and I. We did one for Vision Pro. It was my idea to come up with, and we came up with this. Vuzix, I was attached to another big company. They used Vuzix for this one. I'll tell you why I pulled that project into this one. This is something really informative underneath over here. You guys can see it, right? The screens, what I'm doing, is it big enough? Because I'm sharing it on my big monitor. Can somebody say it?
Yeah, it's
clear, yeah? Okay, so please ask questions, okay? Don't make it very formal. I don't like being formal. Let's make it very clear. It doesn't matter. So like MetaQuest, if you take, this is something that's what I said. If it was in front, I would have at least dragged one of my, colleagues and then come and showed it to you, like how then you will really have an impact when you're doing a UI design. Like, okay, let's take it like this one, because you guys are like web familiar, maybe, yeah? So if you're writing a code for the web, like, okay, I did a React code today, and then I was just writing it. So mainly I was writing the code for React, like it was just 1920, the maximum screen. Today they drill it down to 1400 and 1400. So that is your field of view. Let me put it in 2D views into the field of view in your particular language. So the field of view, it's not, I can't call it, but it doesn't matter. Let me call it. So field of view is 1440. But if you're thinking beyond is 1920, that's the maximum, because going beyond that, the user can't see. Perhaps the texts are going to get small. And then how is, so that is the best artboard. Okay, let me answer it in Figma. That's the best artboard size. So what you can do is, so for MetaQuest 3, when I'm developing the certain content with my friends, what I do was I design for this one, 1500 pixels. These are solid stuff I'm giving you, not AI, yeah? Because this is not AI, I'm telling you, because I personally have worked on them. That is what I'm trying to give you the best of it. So I personally have done it for this artboard size, 1500 by 900 pixels. You might have a lot of questions. Even we do it, and then I can explain everything. The time is running out. But anyway, let me put it on with the questions, okay? So if you're going to design sometimes more than that, these are questions that even we had when we were doing. That's what I said. You fall in love with the fairy products, and then you try to, find the nitty-gritty, and then all these particular things, the dogma, and then the stanzas, and whatever the thing that assimilates from the particular view. You got to understand it. So 1500 is the best. What my Unity people thinks that for MetaQuest 3, 1500, 900. You might ask, what happens? No, I'll leave it up to you to ask them. What happens if you do it by 1000? Okay. What happens if you do it by 1900 artboard? What happens? Okay, I'll tell you later. I want to answer from you guys. So maintains the optimal 5.3 aspect ratio on the comfortable of 1M, 8M physical panel. So this is MetaQuest. And then HoloLens. This is by Microsoft, to be honest with, and then they discontinued it. This was a lovely thing, The HoloLens is also, I worked on this project also for, I don't want to mention the company, but medical, yeah? Medical. And then for what you call the MetaQuest, I worked on the game engine. So I'm versed on this UI as to how it should come beyond, how it should render. Humbly. Again, 1440 by 936 is the best size for Microsoft HoloLens. It's a good headset. But only thing is, these are, sorry to use this word, is damn heavy. That's the biggest problem that people have, when you're using these headsets. I'll tell you back again why that people are switching it to glasses now. But anyway, you can't keep certain things out. You need to use the headsets also, but I'll tell you as well on what panels you really need it. So for the HoloLens, I designed it for 1440 with and then 900. I don't know whether you're doing some kind of a workshop, yeah? So I think these ratios are really important for you. And then maybe, yeah, this is really important. Maybe if you can take a screenshot or do whatever, it doesn't matter. 1440 by 936 and optimal 3.0 aspect ratio, but the medical app I used, okay, so I wrote it. I forget what I told yesterday because I'm loaded with work, okay. But for the medical app I used, I designed the comfort recommended for 950. There you go. So 950 into 800 by minutes. So this is what I was trying to tell you. It's really important that you understand this particular, if you can fathom this particular nature, at least this will save you big time. So Vision Pro, it came really in a very big way. So again, 1500 by 1500. I could give my artboards by this one. Maintains the optimal 16.9 aspect ratio design comfort. And 800 by 400. Here you go, small one. Vuzix. This is AR, they call it AR. This is a lovely product, but they come up with various products. The last project that I was using was for a doctor. They wanted to use it, so basically to have a call with the, it doesn't matter, I can explain the project to you. Such illustration could be made. They want to talk to the other person who is like in another level of maybe, let's be civilly. Like they want to talk to a person like who is in the ambulance, maybe perhaps something like that, and they want to take a call quickly, and then they want to touch it and they want to use it. So Vuzix is a very smart glass, but it's a bit heavy. And the new one, they have released a glass, but it is also coming for this particular Vuzix. They are using by 800 by 400 pixels, maintains the optimal 5.3 ratio, design comfort for 16.9. So the artboard sizes are speaking in your terms. Artboard size will be 800 by 400. That's for the Vuzix. Next slide, in jumping into this. In XR, the device defines the experience and the user's comfort does. Okay. No matter the headset, the design only succeeds when it feels natural, effortless, and strain-free for the human eye. Comfort first, technology second. That's how great XR design wins. So if you want to do a design for that one, I know design is needed. Design is really needed, but then comfort comes first, okay? Without the comfort, I know doctors will throw it away. There's a use some four-letter words and say, nah, this is not what I want, this is what I want. Europeans level, how they think. It's really important, okay? So in XR, winning design is not the most detailed, the most high-tech, or the widest canvas is the design that represents the human eye, understands the phatic limits, and delivers information in a way that feels natural, regardless of whatever its medical with its medical dashboard, educational dashboard, or a visualization dashboard. Spatial UI is for holographic overlay. Always remember to keep the comfort first. Based on that, to provide an elegant design. Yeah? The comfort is first. Because I'll tell you later what my Unity designers, how they felt when we were doing the project. After I do this particular thing, my Unity guy will wear this particular headset. First, he wears it, not me. It's always Unity guy. He wears it, he tests it up, he will remove it saying that, oh my God, Ishfaak, my head is paining, my eyes are paining, I can't do it, I'm going out. I want a tea and giving. He's gone. He's gone. He comes back after 4 hours because it really kills you for a project. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So the UI has to be really thought on the particular ergonomics and the fatigue levels first before you talk about no matter whatever comes. Even Google might release something, and then no matter what comes, at the end of the day, how practical it is for the user is the main thing. Okay, so that's very important. Apple takes it so serious. Yeah, these people took it so serious. I would like to say that I personally have come up with a project recently, as I said, for the on the teacher to student activity scenario. So for that one, our guys from, it was not from here, from there, they were of my friends from Moses, they were like really doing this particular thing, and they were really thinking about their POVs. It's making the visual impact appealing, provides bliss to the human physical motion, pleasing it to the eye, pleasing it to the neck, and then the physical elements that you closely observe. So because what happens is the moment you put the design and when you wear it, your head, your neck, I mean, even though no matter what exercises you do or whatever that is, it really hurts. And then sometimes it really hurts. And then sometimes the glare that bounces in. And then Apple thought many things. And then let's talk about that later. I think in this screen, I'm giving some very informative stuff for you guys. So it doesn't matter. So learn it as much as you can. Over here, these people, the HoloLens, had a lot of problems when it comes to the glare. Like when you have the projector and then when you go close to a window and when you look up, the glare that comes into their particular eye, he cannot see the application running. Then how are we going to do design? That's another issue. MetaQuest, somewhat. Vision Pro, they came up with a fantastic solution. Okay. Vuzix, okay, another scenario. So we came up with a design which is similar to cut off that particular thing. So how we're going to do it is very complex. Okay, so this is something ergonomics. So what is ergonomics? This is a science that is concerned with designing and arranging things for people to interact mostly, efficiently, and safely. Okay, this is something really important for you. It's asked to keep the UI to the field of view for a better spatial experience. It's always recommended to avoid vertical scroll and the design to a wider angle. But again, wider angle doesn't mean that the world is my infinite, and that doesn't mean I have to run everywhere. In my personal life also, I can't run everywhere. No, and then I'm going to pan too much. There is a limit where I can run, but it doesn't matter. We call it a field of view. Okay, so what is a field of view is something really important. What to design? To what size? It's really important. Let me pull this one a little bit and then give you a glimpse of it, because I told you I'm a practical guy. So let me just quickly tell you a field of view. I can only explain it through this one. I don't see any other ways of explaining field of view to make you comprehend. There is no other way for this one. So let me create 3 geometries over here. I'm a heavy Max user, and then I use a lot of human body forms also. So I hope you guys can see it here.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, so let's jump into this one. I'm a really humble guy. You can talk to me, okay? When I'm doing something or maybe not doing something, you can just tell me, Ishfaak, I don't understand it, teach me again. So, okay, field of view is this. This is the best field of view. That's what I said. 2D, the normal web and the interfaces, if anybody's talking UI, UX, is very much basic. And then let's jump into this particular angle. So here you go. So this is the field of view. Now, this is the perspective view. I know some of you might be doing 3D, it doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to give you is the field of view. As you see here, this is the front view of it. Blender came with this very lately, okay? Originally, 3D Studio Max came up with this concept. I do not know. Blender uses, later on, I have interrogated many Europeans also. They have said that, yeah, Blender came up very lately with this one. Originally, they came up with the perspective view. And then I would like to use the word, but I don't want to use it over here. It was really horrible. So if I created 4 geometries over here, the geometries that you hear. Now, what is the field of view? I create a sphere over here and I try to put it in the middle over here. Okay. Now, is it properly centered? This is the field of view that I can give you. So never create an object in a perspective view. You cannot. It's impossible. If anybody is doing it, I saw some of the Unity engineers doing it. He was a master in, and I really rebuked him and saying that don't do it. He said, no, it matter. Okay, no, that doesn't matter. You don't have to do it. No, no is no. So what you're going to do is, if you could see this particular view, this is not showing in a proper center way. So this is the center point here. So this is what the user will really like to see, that if you are giving a field of view in a proper way. So always don't create your objects in the perspective view. Perspective view is for viewing purposes. You come up with your mental layer saying that what objects you want to create, the geometry that you want to render is not created on the perspective view. Perspective view is the viewer. You are the creator. Yeah? So that you are the potter. You create. So if you're going to create, you have to understand what you're going to create and where you're going to create. So you're not going to create it over here. As you saw, I'm going to create a cylinder over here. No, let me create a cone over here. I want to place it right in the middle over here. I'm creating it. But okay, the cone is created over here. Okay, but is it centered? This is what there you go. So this is field of view. This is ergonomics. This is what the user is going to feel that when he's wearing the headset. This is really horrible. So I have understood this one really well, and then I have played with all this the technologies that we had to do, and then we had to know it. So ideally, the center view is this, okay? This is the center geometry. This is the one that you have to model with. And this is the other top level window. So this is the FOV. If you want to talk about real FOV, this is what it's all about. So geometries that you create, you have to make sure that you're creating it in a proper way so that everything is aligned properly. So you are the creator. You are creating it. So the field of view means that you are creating a field of view which is basically comprehensible to the senses, which the user comprehends, which you're trying to, promulgate. But the user should understand that where he's going to create it, now it's properly centered. Now it's a proper thing. The headset user is going to see this perfectly based on his particular, field of view. He's going to see the perfect objects done. Now, if you created something like over here, the user has to put a lot of effort to understand this one. This is what I was trying to explain it to you. Your artboard, if I want to put it in the simple Figma users like. Today, the Figma users who they think that they're really, whatever. Okay. So for them, this is not the artboard. So this is not the artboard size that you have to do. Artboard size will be here. Now, that is the size that I told you earlier. This is what I was trying to elucidate to you. Yeah. So this is what you have to think. 3D is something really that you have to engulf in, you have to cling to, and then do it after that. So field of view, the best experience is to explain it through 3D, you understand it. So this is where you will see the real world gamer. If you're developing in Unity or whatever, you will understand these geometries really well. Apple took this really seriously. They really did it. They brought in scientists by everywhere, and then I forgot their name. I think there was one girl's name I really forgot, and she did a wonderful job. Okay, so she's the one who spoke about ergonomics. I think you could find out. She really spoke about the field of view. So this is the vision that I was explaining to you to 3D. So this is really important. Don't let the objects be created on the top. Then he has to move his head up and down. If you're going to develop a medical app like that, the doctor is going to seriously throw it away. He's never going to use it. No. He's going to throw it away. So how you're going to do it is something really complex. That's what I said. This is complex UI. Extremely complex. You're playing with coding, you're understanding Unity, and then you're doing it out. You have to understand really well. It's the Unity engineers have to go through a very hard time. But at the end of the day, when you see it, you forget all your pain. So let me quickly drill down. This is a science that is concerned with designing and arranging things to people to interact most efficiently and safely. That is ergonomics. It's asked to keep the UIs to the field of view for a better spatial experience. That's what I showed you right now in 3D. Like you remember, yeah? So just keep this particular field of view. It's really important. You cannot create the particular object over somewhere really far and then tell the user to see. This is not the center object. These are the center elements. But not this. This is way up above. So he has to put a lot of effort to grasp as to where this is all about. This is not the way to do it. So that's bad UI. Okay. Yeah. So to keep the field of view. It's always recommended to avoid vertical scroll. Here you go. And to design for a wider angle. So the wider angle also, don't let it always zoom. I know what happens is when you create this for this particular viewport, the headset will try to adjust it to the best view. But that doesn't, again, that's a strain. He has to put a lot of effort to it. Like, you're designing a web image in your form, I will just say, you're doing a font for maximum readability is 16. Okay. Even I do it for 16 for the web. And mobile, okay, 12. too small, but I tell my fellows to use it for 313 to 14. It's fine. And then if that view, if it is more small, you could do it. But the mobile is, you will have to put a lot of strain into that. You got to think about the users who is like, oh, maybe 50 above. What are they going to do? It's a problem, man. So you cannot do that. So you have to understand the particular field of view. This is ergonomics is really important. So think about the device first and then come up with a design. Yeah, that's really important. So the next slide. This is what is something really important now. Visual depth cue. This is something really important for you. I think that's what I pulled this slide for over here, because for all the projects that I was doing, I had to face all these particular problems, severe problems for these medical domains, and then with dealing with all these medical people. And these are the things that I had to come up with. Visual depth cues. Visual depth cues helps us to perceive and understand the three-dimensional depth distance. Again, the depth. Okay, what I showed you right now, an environment. That's to say, the proper design UI content should enable the mind to grasp depth. They're essential to navigate and interact with the world efficiently. So the depth, this is what I kind of tell you. The objects everywhere makes the user to feel really in a apathy and agony, and then he's not going to be happy at all. Never he's going to be happy. You're going to arouse that particular user, because at the end of the day, you're throwing something which is not perceptible to the senses because it is not within the field of view, which is going outside of the box. So no, the old school way. Also the outside of the box, no. So think outside, but then not that particular level. It should be inside the box. So in a field of view where it is perceptible to the masses, and then the senses where they're going to find bliss. So always remember that one. So mandatory factors to foresee is the light. I told you. The light is something that the Vision Pro, I have worked on all these particular headsets. Light is a factor that you have to really think. And then the shadows, really important. And then the color. And then the most important, size to ponder when rendering. Now, when you talk about the light, light is a factor that you need to really think about how the light is going to be visualized. Like certain headsets, when you wear the light, you cannot, see it properly, and then certain things. So you have to consider on that. So to sustain a better UX is vital indeed to display the essentials in the right time. If more objects are to be shown to a specific reason, blur the non-essentials, because it's very important idea. Because if you're using a lot of objects, geometry, like in a medical aspect, let me take a medical screen, for example, you're telling the doctor to visualize a human body. You're trying to tell these people to study the dogma, these things, to maybe visualize a human body, the anatomy. And then you want to do that. We did one as well. So when you're doing that, and then when we want to observe this one, you're having too much of objects. Then what do you want to do? You're going to show all the objects? His mind is going here, there, here, there, here, there. You cannot do that. No. The center attraction takes the main thing. Like if there's a speaker, he came, he spoke. Yeah, he was the center attraction. I was listening to him. And then everything is that. So the object that you're taught, you render that one first. And it should be very clear. What you speak is what you get, the visible form. In the same way, it should be narrated in this particular world as well. So it's very important to show the objects, the rest, whatever it is non-essential, blur them off. You don't want them. Okay. Now here, ornaments. This Apple spoke it in a way. Now this figures that I took is for this particular thing in this version for a certain business objective. Okay. Now, again, the business also plays a big role. So one day you're going to come up with this. Maybe one of you guys might go into this particular thing. Let's take a game, for example, Free Fire. You play Free Fire. The geometry that you show, the map is on the left-hand side. How big is it? It's on the left-hand particular view. The main center attraction is the guy who carries the gun and who walks into this. So that is the field of view. The main center attraction is him. The rest ornaments which is being developed on the side of the particular game is being taught these are the particular sides. Now, in this case, I was referring to a game, but if it's a medical aspect, I need to make sure that the doctor is not going to have a game mindset. He is going to get really angry. He wants to see things in a really specific way, that he's going to get the idea basically on these particular ornaments. So you have to make sure that these are properly spaced. These are just things that I quickly did with my hard work. With my busy work, to do that. And then I quickly just put everything together, a collective of patterns. Okay. So each state should be a clickable state. It's really important to have a clickable state because it really makes sure that the problem is clicked. I'm so sorry. That's what I said. If it was live, I would have shown you in much more way so I only can explain it to you over here. So I apologize for that. Not apologize, but okay, apologize, because that's all I can show it to you, because here you have to show a state. When you put it to the app and then when you click it on, I think in my LinkedIn or maybe here also, I think I embedded that video. I forgot. It should be there. There is a touch, always gesture. You need to make a sound. It needs to be big. It needs to be visible. Not big means not so big, but then It's something perceptible. Yeah, it should be there, but each and every element should be clearly, should grasp the other person's senses, the mind, and then everything, so that he's going to be finding harmony. Yeah, so the sizing is really matters. Sizing matters a lot, and focus feedback. So ensure that your UI elements have a clear separation to avoid visual clutter and to maintain comfort within the user's field of view. A clean spacing not only improves readability but also helps Unity developers to implement interaction smoothly. There you go. This is really important for you. It's just, if you want to be only a designer, fine. If you want to be application level kind of a designer, you will have to deal with a lot of Unity developers, or maybe a gaming guy or something like that. Then you will have to give all these particular elements to make his life easy. If not, he's going to have a really hard time. Okay, so provide a distinct hover focus on the state of each icon, shows in the examples of on the left. That is these. And these international gaps of feedback skews enables users to navigate spatial environments with greater precision, ease, and overall smoothness. So sizing really matters. Okay, so that is something that you need to think. For example, quickly, if I wanted to say, if this particular object is a medical object that you want to do, if you put your object very far like this, the doctor is going to have to come up over here. So if you build a particular field of view over here, and then you kind of render a particular torus or whatever like this into your object over here, I created in the top, it is visible. This is the object that he wants to create. And then I create it. It's always here in my field of view. So, and then the world will be rendering properly over here. So then the torus is over here. Yeah. So create it within the field of view so that the user can grasp what it is all about. Okay. So this is something, that's what I brought 3D to make your life easy to understand. Okay. So let's understand ergonomics in a Vuzix way. I pulled Vuzix because Vuzix is a small screen. It's really important to understand this. A good example, I think all the other screens that everybody know, it's big, it's heavy, it's lofty, and then you see the big sizes and so on. But people, they're getting smart, and I can't use that word smarter, but then people, when they use it, they say they want to use it like in a small way. They want spectacles, they want glasses. In that case, they check your emails, maybe just say answer a call with a touch and then say hi, hello, okay, I'll send a message to you. That's it. In this case, so I pulled this one as an example. So Vuzix is AR glass. There are better glasses than this one, but I just took this one because I want to explain certain things. Now here, ergonomics, comfort and safe human use. So here's the artboard size, 800 by 400, maintains the optimal 5.3 ratio, as I explained earlier. And this is how we first start the particular design, not the design. We first come up with this particular entity. I know, I'm so sorry for you guys, but you cannot do this, but it doesn't matter. But at least for things to make you guys pass, you need to think, at least try to maintain this one. Okay, it's really important. First, you need to think about the field of view. So what if we get a project, what we do is, that's what I said, not like the basic UI. We come up with this understanding of we first try to understand the device, the peripheral. And then we first come up with the navigation. The navigation and the touch point, click points. This is where we give a severe time. Nobody can say that, I want the project tomorrow, and then I want, no. If that's the case, he's wrong. We at least take around at least 1 week to test this particular device, 1 week. Just to test the touch, the gesture, the sunlight, the field of view, mainly, and then the comfort level. So it takes around that much of time. So I don't want to read everything. I don't know if the time is running fast. You tell me that I slow down. If not, I'm thinking that it's running fast. Is anybody sleeping? Please don't sleep. It's something interesting. So this is what I'm trying to say. So this is a field of view, a very small glass, 800 by 400. Even the Google, the glasses, new glasses, which is going to come, is going to be 800 by 400, maybe smaller than that. It doesn't matter. So how are you going to do the UIs? It's really tough. It's not like web design, It's just not like mobile design. There's a standards. You find templates. But here, no. In this case, you have to play around with this. And then you find it. But when you do, you feel really happy. So that's the greatness of it. So, okay. So given the inherently of small screen, within the area of users AR glasses, we conduct extensive experimentals with various interface sizes. We observe that the glasses effects aren't always ideal for readability in all scenarios. There you go. So the readability is the main thing over here. The flat designs alternatives we use as head of your whatever engineer rigorously test for a week. There you go. So now what suits, we know. Based on the week after testing, we know. Then we embark on the particular design. Okay. So our goal is to test identify the optimal dimensions that ensure comfort and easy viewing. So as I said, testing. This is the particular thing that I was explaining to you that differs from the normal UI to the extreme level of UI. So this is that, yeah. So now here, This is one instance that we came up with for the medical thing. For Wuzix, we came up with the design problem. Too small. Doctor can't see. He can't observe this part. I need to show the collar. Doctor is saying, I need to show the face of this particular thing. Where do you want to show? Come on. What to do? I can't see this particular device. Then we clip onto it. Our eyes are paining. You can't stare for a long time. It's heavy. People for fashion, they say, VR, XR. At the end of the day, what matters is, did you foresee? Did you comprehend? Did you really play with it? And this is what matters. So at the end of the day, how you design the objects, the field of view, ergonomy, sizing, light, the textures based on the particular light. Yeah. The textures based on the particular light is something really important. So sizing and focus feedback. So we had a very hard time with this particular screen. The doctor is very stubborn. No, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. I don't want anything else. I want this screen. Okay, do it for this. Okay, so we go with the rigorous testing. Yeah. So you come up with the testing and data. This is something interesting. So before, as a designer, you will have to, that's what I said. Before I go up with the implementation, we understand the hardware. Then we come up with the actual, I use Max to design this one to get the finger, like the hand, the gestures as to how the menu is going to come. So I show the depth really to the person, the Unity guys are the main people over here you will have to deal with. The Unity is the main person that you're going to encounter. So encounter means to work with. So the top view, the right and the left, all this particular, this is what I said. Max is better. If anybody's using Blender, I apologize. It doesn't matter, but it's okay. But I love Max. I love Maya. So this is what it's all about. And this is how you design. And this is how you come. You explain the BA, the Unity guy, the customer, and then you explain everything. Then you go on to the final design. Yeah. So here's one instance that you come up with this one. I think there's a small video over here. So this is the thing that we did. So how you're going to open up this particular medical app or maybe a student app or something like this, the gestures, the touch, the menu, how easy it is. Because if you have the menu on the left-hand side, he's always going to move his particular head and stuff like that. We cannot do that. Yeah. So we decided to keep his hand. To click on the hand, the menu pops up. Yeah, something like that. So it's just that kind of entity. I can speak on that more, but then this is what it's all about. So here, our Unity output of the app is rendering, the sizing, focus feedback, everything. We brought this into this particular hand. So this is next level thinking. How you do it is just a watch. So if we decided either the right or the left, mainly the medical professional must be dealing with the patient, maybe the left hand or the right hand. So we decided there was a big controversy. Doctor said that maybe, why don't you have it on the left? No. I'm wearing my watch on the left. Then you want me to remove my watch and put it onto the right hand? No, it's not possible, Ishfaak. Or maybe I might say, I'm teaching the students, and maybe, do you want me to, when I was teaching the student like this, do you want me to touch my hand? Okay, no. Yeah, later on they said, yes, for the Vision Pro, yes, it's better. Because why? Here, there is so much syllabus. So when I click on this, the worlds are coming, you're in an immersive world, and then I see this particular thing over here. I'm playing the video in a big focus, and within that, you want to put another menu, then you want to scroll, then what happens with the fading? You want to put your eyes here and there, and like that? No way. It doesn't make sense. No way. No. So this is the menu. So, but this is, a different kind of a thinking. So it's something different. So this is something that we designed for the project. Okay. So sizing, focus, feedback, the Unity output of rendering is this one. So this is a very short video that I captured that we normally tested. Okay. This is extreme. I know this is going to be too much for you, but if you like, you can just quickly read it out. This is for the extreme level of XR, VR, AR. I don't know how this suits you, but it doesn't matter. If you like to, you can listen to this. The canvas, the interaction, the affordance, these are the things that you really have to do, which then it's a bit high, but it doesn't matter. But I think this is what you really need to know if you're doing XR VR. If you guys want me to read it, I'll read it out for you. What do you think? Shall I read it out for you quickly? How is it like? You can just talk to me and tell me. Shall I read it out for you? Or explain it to you? What do you think?
Everything is fine.
Cool. Okay. So basically, understanding the elements of spatial user interfaces is going to be in depth. Okay. So if you're going into a really medical project, or maybe really telecommunication project, or a really real estate project, or maybe the immersive game. These 6 points, six, yeah, five, yeah. These are the 5 points that I use when I kind of come up with this again the Unity guide. With this Unity guide, the Unity guide plays a crucial role. He is really crucial, and then you what the 5 points that I really use for my particular thinking. So spatial UI is fundamentally different. I'm going a bit speed because I want to talk to you guys as well. Maybe don't fall asleep. This just 2 more slides, I think. A few more, but the rest is not that much big. Okay. So spatial UI is fundamentally different from 2D screens design. In XR, every element has depth, scale, and context, which differ directly influences user comfort and comprehension. We must move beyond designing mere pictures on a canvas and begin designing objects that exist in a 3D environment. This shift requires us to define 4-dimensional elements, that structures all spatial interfaces. So what elements do you want to cling to? The canvas, the interaction, and then the affordance. So here, billboard essential panels. Critical text and data panels must be gently rotate to always face the user's view. These are extreme level of thinking for medical applications I used to cling to, okay? Why is it critical? Prevents text from these are not AI. These are things that we personally have gone through, and then I'm giving it to you. I know today, if you ask a person, even I want to mention recently, a big company has told me, one of the architects who just spoke to me and told me, Ishfaak, we got a guy to, fix some bugs. And then he was said to be a SC. He knows React and Angular, which I also do. And then he was summoned to this particular thing to fix a bug. And then the moment he came, he quickly types it's a massive system. Code is written. The mind is tamed right now. The world is going on that direction. You can't help it. He quickly goes on to the AI and asks the question without identifying the in-depth knowledge of it. Don't do everything from AI, because at the end of the day, you're writing a framework of maybe, I don't want to mention the companies over here. So maybe 5-6 years, they are putting a massive SaaS project, and then they're writing their thing in React or maybe Angular. They're using Material UI or Angular Material and stuff like that. They're using custom UIs there. And then this fellow is coming and they're putting the question into the AI and quickly generate the copy and paste it. Oh my goodness, a bug came big. This is not the kind of stuff that I got it to show it to you. These are things that we personally, when the project goes, we encounter, and then we decided, no, this is extract. This is extract. This is extract. Get this. It's just like you. When you get up early in the morning, you know what the best way that suits you to go out to the class. You open the front door and you go, but there's a way of doing it. You have a lifestyle, clean lifestyle that you want to go. It suits you. So this is the points that we use for our kind of a development of VR and XR and AR. So these canvas, the interaction and the affordance. So large touchable targets, which is really needed. And every interactive element must change state instant the user's gaze or hand pointer touches it. Really important. Critical text and data panels must be gently rotated to always face the user's view. That's what the menu, we did it like that. Prevents text from becoming eligible due to oblique viewing angles, eliminating eye strain. These are extremes, I know, but at least try to grasp as what we're trying to say. Confirms user intent before they convert to a pinch or press, reducing cognitive load of frustration. Okay, accommodates the low precision of hand tracking and ensures reliable interaction. Next one is the fourth one, which is really important, anchoring. Avoid head lock. Hard. Really, really, really important. Do not anchor UI directly to the user's head for anything other than transient status indicators. Okay, cues. Leverage spatial audio. Use sound placed in 3D spaces, not stereo, to alert users to off-screen events. Head-locked UI causes severe fatigue, okay, and disorientation. Anchor content to the body or the world. Guides attention and reduces the need for the user to spin their head, mitigating neck fatigue. Don't do a project where the objects are here or here, and then you tell the user, swipe over here. No way. That's a game. If you want to play some kind of a like what do you call that game? I forgot it. Free Fire say, if it's a gaming console, it's fine. You got to shoot here, the man is over here, immersive, that's fine. But It depends on the thing, but I'm talking about real-time projects. Don't let the user focus over here. You're going to have severe and eye damage and things like that. I would like to tell one last thing. It just came to my mind. My Unity guy was using a Vuzix for 1 week for this particular screen. Solid facts, I'm telling you. AI will not give this. Solid. He was using it for the project. He really couldn't see after 1 week. He had problems in his eye. So these particular devices that come, it's really cool, but how you design is going to be really important for you to understand it. Because if you put your design into a very bad way, this is going to get you. Remember, this is your mom. Even today, she must be telling you, don't go close to the TV and watch. Now it is happening, but it's forcibly happening. So at least if you're forcibly doing it, you need to make sure to maintain your FOV, focus, field of view. So how you arrange it, and don't let the users go here, there, here. That's what I said. Menu is here, click on it, go down. No, not like that. So place them objects in a proper way. So these 5 points are the core principles that separate a functional spatial interface from a failed one. These 5 are really essential. If you want to pick one, you want to see. So these are the 5 that I was mentioning. Where is that? So these, yeah. So this one, the canvas, interaction, affordance. Affordance is really important. Anchoring and cues. Okay. So again, affordance, large touchable targets. Again, I'm going back to that. For hand tracked interfaces, Meta Quest 3, targets must be at least 40 millimeter, 40 meter in virtual size. Really, 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 really important. Okay. So that's that. And then over here, affordance. I'm just explaining more into this one. I think it's running to an end. This is called actionable design rules. This is a bit techy, okay? But I do not know how it's affordance and then trajectory and then temporal change and hierarchy. So these are the things that we used to understand when you're doing this. So example, in a medical industry app, when the doctor pinches a virtual vial for the pharmacy carousel, the vial should bounce subtly before settling in their hand to confirm the grab was successful. So these are basically technical points that I'm trying to give you, like what kind of elements when you click, what should the behavior be that the design thinking should come. So it's really in depth in this way. It's really complicated. However, I feel that this is one of the best, which if you can cling to and get these points, if you're going into a much more higher level, these are points that you really need. So actionable design rules: use natural, predictable curves. Virtual objects moving between positions must follow curved, smooth, and predictable paths like an arc. Avoid straight lines and abrupt stop starts. Okay. An example in a medical industrial lab, a diagnostic panel should fly smoothly from the nurse's virtual wrist to the doctor's comfortable viewing zone. These are some of the stuff that we did. So that's what I'm trying to get to you, but unfortunately I cannot show it. So this is how I can explain it. So this touch events and how the objects fly and how they how it's perceptible, grasped is something really important. So example of a medical industry app, following a slow and easy to track curve. So how is the motion is really important. If you use like one of these devices or something like that, you can throw a teacup, it really shows the motion. If it falls, it shows the fall. The sound should come, everything should come. So that is really a gesture that you need to really fathom. Lastly, this is a very important thing, temporal change. Okay. Use slow, deliberate motion. Animated transitions like opening a large window or growing a 3D model must be slow enough for the user's eye to track comfortably. Okay. Examples in the medical industry: when a 3D heart model is selected, its scale and rotation should increase gradually over 0.5 to 1 second, allowing the user not to think of it. The Unity guy knows it, but if you know it, in my case, I go through all this and then we have deep discussions and we come up with this. And then allowing the user's virtual system to smoothly adjust to the new size and depth. So the movement, again, is really important because when you're in that world, anger pops up really fast. Okay. Again, actionable design rules, which is over here. Most guides focus and then stuff like that. It goes as you can get it. I don't know if you want me to explain it or stuff like that. Let me do this one, at least the last one. Yeah, I spoke. So this is going to be the last line. Actionable design rules. So motion guides focus. Use motions sparingly to highlight the most important elements of the screen. Any motion demands the user's immediate attention. So grab the user's attention. Always when you're designing to a special UI, the attention should be there and then not to something else. What you see is what you get kind of attitude. Like, it has to be really focused on that particular nature, not something on else. So because this is immersive world, that's what I'm saying. If it's a web, click, you open this. Mobile, you click, you open this. Add to cart. But this immersive world, people are immersive. Psychologically, they are immersive. And then their perception is always tangible to tell their perception to cling to many things because they are immersive. They want to see, they want to discover. So you tell the object, the target object, what you do is something really essential as to what you render. And then it should be really pivotal on that particular view. Unfortunately, I can't show these things, but so I'm doing my best to explain it to you. So example, in a medical industry app, when the patient's blood pressure drops critically, the relevant chart should gently pulse or expand slightly. That's what I was trying to explain to you. Slightly to draw the doctor's eye immediately, overriding the less important static data. So if something is, like I told you, we were doing ECG screens, that was not that, but in different way. We have to show the particular geometry in a very clear way. The eye focus is going to be there. And then whatever the thing. So keep the focus on what you're talking about. It's like, for example, if I am to tell you, if you're doing a tutor app, like you guys are going to do a tutor app. So if you're clicking it, the video is going to be in the center, not on the side, center. Always center. Or maybe a very small panel, or maybe over here, it's fine. Maybe a little bit of eyesight because at the end of the day, the strain is going to be really too much. So these are the factors that you need to think on the particular devices that if you're going to use. All these devices, no matter what you wear, I know it makes sense, but whatever the devices that you go through, at the end of the day, it all bounces down. It bounces back to one thing. This one, what the sizes matters, how the peripherals give you the output. Each and every device has its own kind of a good and then the bad things. Like I would say bad, yeah, bad things are there because at the end of the day, this is too small. And even do you think that the Google glasses, which is going to come over there, you think that it's going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard for the user. The moment he starts focusing over here, the rest is going to be paranoid. This is going to be paranoid. Huh? This eye is going to be really hard. And then you use it because the mind is always aiming to it. And don't always use it. I personally say it because don't use it because at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of side effects at the end of the day. Not always. When you become modern, you try to use it, but then not always. But at least use it and then take a break of it. Always take a break. Apple always tells us. They tell the people, when you're using Vision Pro, take a break. Break is really important. You use it, you stop it. Stop each time. Look far. And this kind of thing. So these kind of elements that you really need to study if you want to be a designer on this particular content. So these are the devices that I've used personally, and these are the artboard sizes that I've gone with. And then based on, lastly, I would like to say, no matter what project that you do, it differs. Don't design anything that is far within this particular reach. Keep it within this particular reach, below that particular reach, but not far within that one. Because the more far it goes, it tries to adjust and then give you the view, but that view is going to be really kind of a pattern because it's not going to be the idealistic view, which is going to happen to you. So always think about something feasible, tangible, and it is perceptible. That is something important. So lastly, essential is to note, motion of virtual objects aims to provide a realistic and immersive experience to a user. The level of interactivity largely depends on the capabilities of the design used in the virtual environment. Okay, so the level of interactivity largely depends on the capabilities of the design used in the virtual environment. So missing visual information with conflict brings motion discomfort. Hence, keep the design simple and perceptible. Okay, so keep pushing your thoughts to create elegant designs of your own over and over till you reach your heights. I know when you're not into this one, you'll have a lot of problems. And then maybe today AI is there, of course, it will make your life easy. It might give you, but they're not always 100% right. It just gives you, try to get information from here and there and try to give you, but at the end of the day, I wish that everybody gets a headset and you can get it, but I mean, do a project and see, and then feasible, and then see, then you will really able to get all these particular things, stuff like that. So that's my particular session. I think I would like to go on with a question and answer. If you think that you have questions and about the industry, like what are the good things that you use or something we wish you to ask. If it is something that I can answer, I will answer and then go on with it. And then lastly, I would like to say thank you for this one. This was a very small session that I can give, but not online. I cannot bring most of the stuff over here. So it's just an online session. So I can only speak and then show it to you. If you have any questions, you can do it up. Again, thank you for listening. This is something that in the Sri Lankan industry, I think there is 3 companies, if I'm not wrong. I don't want to mention the names over here. 3 companies that is overdoing it over here. And then it's right now, even 2 people, they've already asked me to find something. And 2 of my friends also went to them. Their industry is not in Sri Lanka. I think overseas, yes. In India is big time. And then Sri Lanka. I have some Indian friends who always be like sometimes work together. I think they are, yes, but in Sri Lanka, I think it's very minimal, my dear. So to internship, I'm afraid there is, but then I would say not. There will be many people. So I don't think here it's going to be easy, but I think you would be able to find. Even my previous company was doing internship, but they did not take the interns. Basically, they were taking the experience kind of a people because they were getting kind of a projects. That's what I was trying to tell you. They were kind of getting projects which is going to be really complex, and then really they wanted the hardcore people to get it in. So even me to get into this scenario, I had to go on with a very hard time. It was not just easy. I don't know if my life story was told, I think it's really going to be really different. So even at least how I get into this, I went abroad and worked and I got into this particular contacts and then establishing and then go on with it. So it's different. But in answering to your question, my dear, you will find, but I think overseas is yes. India is yes. I think in Sri Lanka, there are very few companies who is doing it. I think, if I'm not wrong, I can't say lies, but maximum, I think 4. If I'm not wrong, I can't mention the company name, it's nice over here. So I think it's 4. Yeah, so give it a shot and see. We'll be able to find. That's all I can say. There are a lot of people who comes to me. Let me put it very personally. It doesn't matter. There are a lot of people who comes to me having AI. You tell AI by you to design a particular nice website. I'll just take it in a website level. What will you do? Will you give a nice website? No. If you have the creativity, you can do more than that. So AI is not good. It cannot replace you. Of course, yes, it is replacing many things, like saying that data entry people, like the jobs have been replaced and then the stuff like that. But if you're a good designer, if you're having the creativity, it'll take some time. Designing is time. It takes some time. People will definitely come to you. Even now, even today, before this session, till 7 o'clock, I was writing React code. And then I was doing why a big company had to come to me apart from my work to this one. They come to me. So why? Because you're having a particular say. So if you build that, you have to have that particular field of view, just like the field of view, you have to have your vision. Let anything come, but that doesn't mean you're going to be thrown away. You're going to get thrown away. No. AI can do to a certain extent, but of course it can. Of course, what I can tell you thousands and thousands of questions. That's what I told you. I came up with a good answer to you. A big company, they hired a person and then he was trying to AI. That's the mindset they're trying to attain. But of course, if for whatever the React structures or maybe Angular, let me talk with I write structures a lot. I deal with a lot of architects and I write myself. I do a lot of writing, code writing. So when I write that writing, I'm not going to tell AI to write it. No. I myself have written so much of frameworks on React and on Angular. I'm not talking about XRB area. I'm going extend. For big medical companies, which I have worked for the US, or from here, I have written a lot of frameworks, and then no, they're not using AI for that. The framework is written by the person because he understands jargon, he understands logic, he understands that. Whatever the bots that is within that, they use it and then they create it. So if you can go to that level of writing the particular framework in a proper way and then to do it, then AI can't replace you. How can he do it? You tell AI to write a particular chatbot, he will write it. But what do you think about the code? You tell AI, you do a nice design. You tell AI, this is practical issues I'm talking to you. I'm doing it. I use ChatGPT to test it up. We do it. Our team is also doing it. From overseas also they're doing it. Solid designers are there. No, it can't create it. You tell him to write a code, it'll just keep on writing it. They write it, but it's all rubbish. I fearlessly say it's rubbish. It's not clean. You tell a carousel you tell the AI to write a carousel based on a medical application. Reason I did it, and then I had to write it on LinkedIn because of that reason. No, It'll give you, it'll just throw you whatever the code, the SAS code or whatever like that, it'll just throw it to you. But at the end of the day, if you know the structure and if you know to get the IDs in proper way, that if you can nest it properly, then I never use it, because at the end of the day, I never use it. I want to use it. Of course, yes, I use it, but if I'm really loaded, I write my structure and tell the minute parts to be filling it, let this guy do it, because I know what I want to do at the end of the day. No. Because Barry and Jones is never going, oh, whoever the athletic is, they're not going to use. Yeah, it is your human form. Your human form God has given you a great gift to understand the particular perceptions and feelings and everything. So these kind of essentials are there. Of course, it'll throw away a design or maybe a code, but then that doesn't mean a human being is thrown away. So some companies are throwing it away because due to the automation level and certain things are there. It's happening. Yes, it's happening, but that doesn't mean you're going to be extremely thrown away. No, it's not going to happen. I personally am doing it because we are writing a lot of structures from point of view. Even today, I was writing a structure for React application, a massive one. So these people are coming, they're having AI. And then after writing the structure, we give it to them saying that you put your nested elements into that one. Then they do it. But still, they minutely take this particular IDs and then they put it up. So somebody is doing it. So that doesn't mean don't make that a problem, my dear. It's not never a problem. No. Don't have that attitude and saying that you're a failure person. No. You just go on with it. Someday that you will understand much more better. No, don't have that fear. In XR VR, I'm not going to again bombard you with a false view with my experience and stuff like that, because humbly, I'm really humble guy. I'm having certain people that I know, and then whatever we do, but that doesn't mean. If you're a student, of course, yes, there's going to be a niche over here. We need to create a niche. And then you need to be very robust right now, because AI is doing many, free things over there right now. Anybody who wants to create a salon kind of a website, or maybe a spa kind of a website, or maybe a little kind of a stuff, then let them go. That's for the little masses. But then if you want to go in a much more sophisticated hierarchy where you want to have a class, and then if you want to do certain things, that doesn't mean that you will have to finish yourself. So if you want to make a standpoint, go the way you are. But only thing, you will have to put double effort than those days, because AI is doing the job to you. You need to find a way to do much more prolific level assimilations, that which AI cannot think, and then which AI cannot give a design aspect. If you take a design of a website, these are practical scenarios. I'm talking to you for a medical application. Recently, we did, even I did it from UK. They came to me and then to my particular company, and then other things which is attached. I'm a practical guy. I'm telling you all practical things. AI is there. They didn't do it. They manually came to us. The Indians come to us, like for the particular company. Europeans come to us. Why? Because having AI, they are telling us to do with it. So we know as a ground level that these are the tools that we need to study. These are the elements that we need to pinch on. And then these are the elements that we need to cling to. And these are the segments that we need to spark on. So if you know these particular things, and if you can leverage yourself into these particular elements, then I don't think you'll have to fear of it. Understand the basics. If IIT is, I'm sure that it's a lovely institute. They're giving you all the education, or maybe whatever institute that you're studying, they're giving the education. Try to accommodate that, but don't stop on accommodation like that. The problem that I see in designers today is they're very Figma level. I'll be very open to you. It's all Figma level. They know Figma. They think that they know the entire world. Oh, no. This is what the problem is all about. Because I always tell my fellows, my designers, I always say, certain interviews are being coming to me, like for whatever the companies that I work with, they tell me, I take the person who fails. I never take the person who doesn't fail. I of course give them the chance, but whoever who fails, I take them first. Because why? I want to give them a chance, and they are the best people. It's possible, because at the end of the same way, you do your particular things that they teach you, and then like Bruce Lee always says, I never fear a man who knows 1,000 kicks, but I fear a man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times. It's something like that. So you know that particular tool, you consolidate on that. And then the moment you consolidate on it, don't stop there. That is a problem. Our guys, what they do is, over here in Sri Lanka, most of the people, what they do is, Figma. I know this one. Okay, this is that. I know React, I stop there. Then what about Angular? Then what about Material UI? What about these other things that you have to know? What about the structuring that you have to know? What about the architecture that you have to know? How do you want to plan these things? They want to stop. No, they will say, if you have that boundary, then you're going to have a problem. As a technical versatile guy, I think I'm almost having a 25 years experience right now. No, don't have that finite attitude. Because I started my life, I'm being very open to you, as a programmer. Then I went to Dubai. I was working there. I was doing 3D stuff. Then I got caught to the particular guy, and then he told me, "Oh my goodness, Ishfaak, stop programming and you're doing 3D." I thought he's going to fire me up. No, he didn't. He told me, "Stop this, and your 3D level is good. You do 3D." Then I was getting bird's-eye views. So my mind was always trying to do something new. That doesn't mean I'm telling that you want to be a jack of all trades so that you become a master of none. No, it's not that kind of a negation that I'm trying to assimilate over here. What I'm trying to say is that if you know one, you know it, be humble, understand it, go to the next level. The moment if you think that you can cling on to many things, and then if you can sustain it, then you are in the market. You are in the market, but don't limit yourself saying that I know this, and then you want to do it because there are many people who is doing the one thing. That one thing won't do over here. You have to do many things. So that's the kind of thing that you have to know. So in that case, I hope that I give you a very clear answer. Do your tools, that whatever the institute that is giving you, it doesn't matter. Study it well. But after that, don't just limit yourself there. If you want to study design, you study design, study programming also. I know you might hate it, but at least study the concepts of it. At least you study how React is, how to open up a hello world in React, how the route works, how the Angular route works. Concatenate that. What is the difference between a div and a box? Why do you have to use a box? Instead of a box, can't I use a div? Today I was doing all these particular sessions. I was telling my little juniors to do that particular one. From there, I was telling them, this is how to write this architecture. This is how you have to do it. Think of it. So I make my designers also a coders. So don't do one, do many. And then move on. You will definitely have a say. Don't fear. No fear. Fear is just a state of mind, like the Buddha says. No fear. So just go on with it, and you will definitely win. I just believe in that one. You have faith, you can do it. There is no way that there's some mitigation. No, there is no way. I'm not going to believe in that particular theory. AI can't do everything what you can do. No.
Design beyond ordinary. Witness creativity that redefines the possible. Let your ideas define the next digital era. Thinking creatively. Exploring possibility. Unleashing a world designed beyond limits.
IX25.